Um, Francis, thank you so very much for joining us today. I want to welcome everybody from the Rooted Woman community to this video session. And for those of you that are tuning in for the very first time, I am Amanda, and I'm a part of the Rooted Woman team. And here at Rooted Woman, we are a self-care lifestyle brand. We create eco-friendly, non-toxic nail polishes and treatments. And we do everything in the name of self-care, including launching our new Rooted Woman University. And one of the very first classes is with the amazing Frances Holmes, who's a certified nutritionist, among many other things. And she is teaching us a class called Nourishing Our Mind, Body, and Spirit in Times of Uncertainty. I'm excited to have Frances on the platform today to educate us a bit about nutrition, the word nutrition. And so the topic today we are exploring is reframing the word nutrition, and it is self-care. Frances, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that, but I definitely wanted to give you the floor.
No, let's reframe it. We need to do that. And I'm really happy to be here. And thank you so much for allowing me to put together this program for the Rooted Woman community.
Absolutely. Okay, fantastic. So let's just start. What we understand is that nutrition is extremely important for us, but we do know that there is a misconception about what the word nutrition actually means. So we want to make sure we help our audience understand the meaning of the word nutrition and to appreciate how focusing on nutrition can be one of the ultimate forms of self-care. So you're going to help us understand that and bridge that gap. So
Great.
let's just start right there, Frances. So often when people hear the word nutrition, there can be a negative emotional response to it. Some people think of dieting. Others may immediately think about all of the things that they're doing wrong when it comes to food. And still others can kind of think it's a touchy subject, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your response to such an association? And how can we turn that negative response to something more loving and positive?
Exactly. I think about that. I honor all of those because they do nutrition, the word, just even thinking about our food triggers lots of different things. And one of the things I want to think about is our habits. Okay. So if you look at the word habit, the actual definition is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that's hard to give up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right there, we're thinking I've got habits that need to be corrected. They're bad. Or I wish I had other habits I should have. We kind of think that way about nutrition. Nutrition is actually the nourishment that my body needs in order to function optimally. Okay? So why would that conjure up so many negative associations? I think the biggest thing is it's creating a healthy relationship with food and understanding how food helps me and figuring that out one bite at a time. Now, we all know at some level, there are certain foods we probably shouldn't eat as much, okay? We know that. But what drives us to want to eat those foods? And so when I think about nourishing myself, when I think about nutrition, I do think about nourishing myself and taking care of myself. And it is the ultimate form of self-care. Because and I'm sure most of us can agree, when I'm eating foods that make me feel good, I think better. My internal dialogue is more supportive. If I'm eating foods that I am craving because I didn't fuel my body yet, I'm really hungry, I'm going to gravitate to those foods that are not as nourishing, which isn't going to help me to create a good balanced brain chemistry and internal dialogue. Because it's almost like junk in, junk out. And we don't want to do that. And we also want to look at it as a way of supporting ourselves. Food can be fun, but unfortunately for many of us, it's a chore, myself included. Sometimes it's like, wow, another day of eating, what am I going to eat? If it's not in the refrigerator, then I have to shop. We really need to look at it as a form of self-care. And for many of us here in this community, we're going to wake up every day. We're going to put our face on. We're going to put our best foot forward. We need to do that on the inside of the body as well. I don't know about you ladies, but years ago, my mom, she said a little powder and paint will make a woman seem what she ain't. Right? So you create that illusion, okay? And there's days when I'm like, I don't want to put my makeup on. but I'm not going outside without it. No, if anybody saw me, they'd say, what happened to you? So we need, and sometimes I scare myself, we need to look at our nourishment as that. Food is that. It's fueling my body. It's giving my body what it needs so I can go out there and thrive, especially in this crazy time.
Yeah,
I need to take care of me.
I think that's
So I hope.
so amazing. I'm sorry. I think that's so amazing. You hit on so many good things, and if I can just kind of take them one at a time, from the last thing that you mentioned, it's the thing that you eat. We're very picky in general about certain things in our lives, right? I remember being asked the question, "What is one thing you will never settle on when it comes to yourself?" And I had to sit with that. I was like, one thing I wouldn't settle on about myself. And I realized something that I will never settle on, Lord help me, is my skincare, right? I will never settle on what I put on my face, the kind of makeup I put on my face. It has to be high quality. It has to be good because I know that what I put on my face will actually affect whether or not I break out, how clear my skin is, how great it feels, right? So I will drop some money on some good face products, but I actually see the connection in the same way that I will not settle on what I put inside of my body either. I have to take that into consideration because like you said, what comes in has to come out, right? And then I also love that you said it's one bite at a time. You don't have to have it all figured out right now,
No.
right? And then two, like you mentioned, there are some comfort foods, and I don't think what I'm not hearing you say is you can't, every now and then have that comfort food that you really like, right? It's just a matter of prioritizing and like you said, getting your nutrients in. But
Right, because many of those comfort foods, okay, they serve a purpose and there's a time and a place for them. And I also do grief work, okay? And there's a lot of grief and uncertainty in the world today. And that can be driving our emotions and wanting to eat foods that are comforting. Now, the reason why those foods are comforting is because they create a different brain chemistry, all right? And they're very addictive, which is the hard part. So that's why it's hard to resist them. No, it's not that you can't have them. It's just that you have to, everything in moderation, including moderation. And so if I'm going to have them, I tell people, if you're going to have that, you have to do it without guilt or shame. Because if you do it that way, you're going to be more cognizant and more aware and mindful of what you're eating. And you might not eat the whole package, okay, or the whole piece. So that's what I like to share with people is because when I say you can't, all of a sudden, what happens? We just want. And we don't want to do that. So we
right.
want to allow ourselves. There's a time and a place for that. But here's the thing. In creating new behaviors around food, we're creating new habits. I want to reframe the word habit. Let's look at it as nourishing rituals, okay? And doing things that are self-care that help us throughout the day. The more we do these little practices, the more we crowd out what we don't want. And we're going to do it in two ways. I just learned this. The first one is that when we create these new rituals, we're going to make them as frictionless as possible and know that there will be some potential challenges, but how can I navigate those?
Okay.
And one of the questions was about, or that we had talked about or had spoken about was water. So if I'm having trouble getting my water in every day, what if I set a water bottle by my door? And when I leave, I know I have to drink a little bit before I leave. And when I come back, I have to drink a little bit before I come home.
Mhm.
I had success. Okay. I didn't drink the whole water bottle, but I left it there as a gentle reminder. I was able to do it right before I left. When I came home, I might have even been more thinking about, you know what, can't wait to get home and have some more water because I am kind of thirsty.
Yeah.
Because hydration is key.
Oh my God, that's so good.
And I,
Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
want to just say that the best thing you can do for your skin, besides those wonderful products you're putting on them, is hydration.
Okay, I just wanted to make mention of this because I have been listening to your course and look what I have on my desk right
I
now.
love it.
Because to your point, if I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to drink some.
Correct.
It's that out of sight, out of mind thing. So
Right.
it's right there within my sight. So I love that. Yes, I've been drinking more water.
Yay. So, you know, it's looking at these things differently. We're reframing nutrition. It's not about an eating plan. And I will share this with you. Years ago, I worked with I was becoming an aerobics instructor. This was a long time ago. And the one woman said, you know, you also have to look at diet. But she said, look at the word. The first three letters spell die. Nobody likes that word diet. It's an eating plan. It's what it is. It's my self-care for me. What am I going to put in my body today that makes me feel good? And I love the fact that you won't skimp on your skincare products. Here's a crazy fact. Women put over 500 toxins on their bodies daily because of what they put on their skin. But you, my dear Amanda, are doing things that are clean and you know, eco-friendly, just like the nail polish for Rooted Woman. So that's what we want to make sure. There are clean products out there. Your skin is your largest organ.
Yes.
And whatever you put on your skin, you really wouldn't want to put it on there unless you could eat it. Now, when I heard that in nutrition school, I first thought, do I want to go home and have a glass of Vaseline intensive care lotion? No, no, I don't. But I would use coconut oil to saute my vegetables with, and I'll put coconut oil on my skin. It's a wonderful way. Oh, you can, I love it. You can buy it, put it in your, you could be in your kitchen in the morning and sauteing something in the pan and take that out and put it all over your body. It's a little different. It's a little more oilier than your regular hand lotions, but look for those hand lotions that have clean ingredients, because seriously, your skin is your largest organ, and whatever you put on it, you're absorbing. Just like on the inside of the body, we have our skin, that mucous membrane that protects and keeps everything in our tube so that our bodies can utilize the nutrients. So
No.
I want good quality nutrients on my skin, and I want good quality nutrients because that's what's delivering the nutrients to every cell in my body. So
Yeah.
if I'm eating, you know, if I tend to gravitate towards sugary things, sugar's a very problematic thing, and it'll cause the skin to break out. So, you know, you have beautiful skin. And I'm
Thank
sure that part of that is some of the work that you do with the products, but some of it is genetic,
Yeah.
and it runs in your family.
And the nutrients too, right? So I
Yes.
like I said, drinking more and more water. But to your point, I actually went and bought some coconut oil myself, and I bought some jojoba oil as well, and I've been using it not only just in my skin but also hair and stuff. So it's been amazing. I wanted to transition to another thing that I notice comes up a lot, right? Which are myths as they're related
Yes.
to nutrition. So what are some myths about nutrition that we should just take time and dispel right now?
Well, isn't it funny? It's a perfect segue from the coconut oil and the jojoba oil. Okay. Because those are two good fats. And fats need to be dispelled. That myth about fat is completely wrong. Our myth is if we eat fat, we're going to get fat.
Mm.
Our myth is that fat is the enemy and we shouldn't have any. Well, let me dispel this here. Your brain is 60 to 70% fat. We need fat. However, we need the good fats. So if you want to be fat phobic, you be fat phobic about the bad fats. Those are your trans fats, your hydrogenated fats. They've changed the cellular molecular structure of those fats so the body doesn't recognize them. But we need good fats, and we don't need a lot. But if you don't have enough of fat, you'll crave sugar. If you don't have enough of fat, you'll continue to be hungry, because fat helps you send out a hormone that tells the brain you've had something to eat. Okay, so we need to have the good fats. Good fats are avocados. Those are excellent for us. And an avocado has more potassium than a banana. So if you're suffering from muscle cramps or need more potassium, try a little avocado, because it doesn't have the sugar that the banana has. Save the banana for a little snack later, okay? We also need to look at olives, olive oils, nuts and seeds, good wild salmon. That all has really good fats. And we need something called the essential fatty acids, which are those omega-3 fats, okay? They balance out our hormones. They are amazing for us. And they also feed the brain. And the good fats also create healthy cellular membranes, so information can get out of the cell, information can get into the cell, and the cells can move around the body very gently and easily, and flow, and not, I'm going to use a real scientific word, gunk up.
I
So
appreciate that.
fats are very, very important. And I don't need a lot. I might need 4 to 6 tablespoons a day, and a tablespoon's about as big as your thumb. Okay. So good fats. There's a wonderful book out called Eat Fat, Lose Fat. And so we need to dispel that myth. Fats are good, and it's the good fats that we need.
I think it's fantastic. I think too. So some things that we can do just right now, right, in terms of the fat, like one, I love eating sardines, and I realized that looking at the sardines, excellent source of omega-3s and the good
Mhm.
fats that you were just talking about, but other things too, like you were mentioning the avocado. I've since taking your course, I've actually been eating avocado with my eggs. And it's been amazing in the morning. It tastes really, really good. And I haven't thought about that before, you know? So it's not, I've been kind of doing it in my own way. But I've also been thinking about the benefits. And I just love how you break it down from just being something that's practical, right? Like, yes, we need fats, but here are the reasons that we need fats, right?
Yes.
And there's a distinction between what we should be letting into our body and what we shouldn't be. And I think some people too, there's a lot of misinformation out there about
Yeah.
the words fats and carbohydrates and all of
Mhm.
these being bad.
Mhm.
But as you're teaching us, there's actually a distinction. There are good carbs, there's good fat, right, that we need, and there's some sugar that's actually just naturally produced in the foods that we eat. And we can be mindful of those things and still enjoy those things
Yeah.
but knowledge is power. And so I just thought it was super important that we talk about what some of those myths are, so we can set the record straight on that. So guys,
And
some fats are good, you got some carbs that are good and some sugar that's naturally producing.
right. The other thing I want you to also remember is we're not a bank account. It's not calories in, calories out.
Mm.
Okay. We are a chemistry lab. The body has a hormonal effect when it comes to eating the foods and doing the exercise that we do. So it's not like I go and work out and these are how many calories I burn in an hour, so then I can go eat these many or reduce my calories and increase my exercise. How many people are doing that and there's not a shift? There's a hormonal effect. There you go.
I was doing that
There's
for a while.
Yes, there's a hormonal effect of the foods we eat and the exercise we do that's telling the body whether it should store fat, whether it should burn fat. So remember, we're a chemistry lab. That's a huge myth because it's really hard to get people to shift because we are so ingrained in exercise this much, burn this much, eat this much. If it's less and more and it's right, then it's going to work. And that's not the case.
That's
Okay.
good. That's so good. It's also what you're also saying is to lose weight, if that's what you're trying to do, or maybe you're trying to maintain a healthy weight, you don't do that by not eating, right?
Correct. Correct. So that's huge. Thank you for that good push. Because in order to lose weight, you have to eat.
Mm,
If you're not eating, the body shuts down its metabolism because it doesn't know when you're going to give it food again.
wow.
And so it's going to hold on to whatever you have. What if, and here's another key, you mentioned sleep. Okay, we talked about sleep a little bit. You need to sleep your way to better health. If
Mm,
you're not sleeping, you're going to crave foods during the day.
mm.
Okay, if you're not sleeping, you're going to have a hard time losing weight. Now, isn't that nice? Everyone thinks I have to hit the gym for 2 hours in order to burn the calories, but they're not sleeping. No, go lay down, get your 8 hours of sleep because that's going to help you lose weight more than probably that exercise.
That's amazing. Actually,
Isn't that amazing?
that is amazing. I think that's amazing because, as you mentioned, sleep is so pivotal. And I keep talking about the benefits of your class because you've opened up so many, I think, just doors of knowledge. And speaking of sleep, learning so much about that, I want to transition to talking about sleep
Yeah.
specifically, right? So one aspect of your class that I never thought about before was how sleep and food are intertwined. You kind of hinted at that right now, but I've always understood sleep as part of the beauty regimen. But
And
it's
it is.
also right, and it
Yeah.
is. It is. I don't want to say that it's not. And it's also part of the mindfulness regimen. Like we need sleep in order to de-stress and everything. But you teach us that sleep and food, or sleep and nutrition, are very much intertwined. Can you briefly explain how food and sleep are interconnected? I know you mentioned that you need it in order to know when you've eaten and all of that, but can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So here's the thing with the sleeping, all right, and with the food. When we wake up in the morning, we need to get that food into us within about an hour of waking up. It's going to give us the energy that we need throughout the day. If I stop eating, studies are showing that if we stop eating 3 hours before bed, it's allowing the body to rest and continue to digest, but it's not going to be digesting. If you eat right up until the time you go to bed, that's not helping. And we need to have a break between the food, because that's helping the brain to detox. And it's also helping us to eliminate the cases of dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. So I want to eat foods that are as close to their natural state as possible, and foods that are nourishing my body. I want to eat them within a certain time frame in the day, and give myself this fasting time, or this optimal time of no food, so the body can regenerate and do what it does. And that's how they're kind of connected. Does that make sense? So I don't want to be eating all night long, but I also want to make sure that I give my body a break from food so that it can rejuvenate the rest of the systems, and that affects the brain. And they're noticing, there's a lot of studies out now noticing how when we have this respite of food, meaning we've got everybody's talking about the intermittent fasting. Well, we all intermittent fast when we go to bed at night because we're not eating. But what if we increased it a little bit more? When I say that we need to stop eating 3 hours before we go to bed, that doesn't mean I stay up later. I still need to get to bed by around 10 if I can. And that sleep is helping us to rejuvenate the brain, which is going to give me more energy and focus for the next day. If I have better energy and focus, I'm going to actually gravitate towards foods that are more nourishing. So they go hand in hand that way.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think too, it allows our metabolism to be regulated as well. And you need to let your body process the food that it's already received. And so I just also feel like I've noticed that times when I've eaten right before bed, I feel a lot of discomfort trying to sleep through that, right? Because my body is in a state of trying to digest what I put in it, and it can't do what you were just saying, which is actually to restore, relax, and kind of get ready for the next day. And it needs all of the time, that those 8 hours, it needs those 8 hours to do that. But it's like now trying to process new stuff that I just stuffed into my esophagus.
So it can't rest and rejuvenate. It has to digest. Okay, so that's why it's key. And you don't feel good. You're full. You're lying down. It's better to be out taking a walk maybe after this food. So we have to look at it that way, because, and many of us, if we're watching TV up until the time we go to bed, we have a few cravings, we eat a little something, whatever we ate, that may have had an effect on us. And now I might have a little heartburn, or I'm having a little indigestion, and I can't sleep. My sleep won't be quality sleep. So we need to have that time off of eating, so the body, after 3 hours, has digested most of it. Okay, it's gone down the chute and it's going into absorption now.
Right.
But now at night, I can rejuvenate, relax, and rebuild the body. And it can't do that if it's full of food and has to continue to digest.
Yeah. Oh, just think about, I'm just thinking about the times that my body was not happy with me when I did that. And it was communicating that. But I just, you've covered so many things just in a short period of time. Like we've just talked about what the term nutrition really means, right? And that it is one of the ultimate forms of self-care. It's not dieting. It's not about what you can't have. It's not the can't word. It's the how can I appreciate my body, give it what it needs so that it can in turn give me what I need, right? Longevity. I'm just thinking about the longevity of our lives and how food affects that, right? And also talking about the myths, right? We need fats and certain carbohydrates are good. And, sugar, we don't need the processed sugar. There's sugar in natural foods, right? And that we need to be picky, just as I'm picky about what I put on my face, we need to be picky about what we put in inside of our bodies. Because as you were saying, like our body or skin also is our largest organ. And so we have to take care of it. You also mentioned that sleep and food are intertwined in a very natural way, and that we want to be mindful about the times that we're eating during the day, and giving our bodies time to digest that food. So that's a lot of information. But I also wanted to just make sure that we give you an opportunity to tell our viewers something else that they may need to know. So as we sum up our discussion, what more can we encourage our community to know about nutrition? So if you had to fill in a blank, here's the blank. I'm going to give it to you. If you had to fill in this blank, what would you say? So there's one thing I want everyone to walk away with from this discussion. It is this.
It is this, that nothing impacts your health more than the foods you eat several times a day, every day of your life. And just because it's a health food doesn't mean it's healthy for me.
Mhm.
Okay? So certain foods don't agree with some of us, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that your body doesn't do well on that food. It's figuring that out. So again, nothing impacts your health more than the foods you eat several times a day, every day of your life. And if you wake up in the morning and you do really good, and then all of a sudden you fall off your little wagon for a minute, I want you to love your way through that and say, okay, I did that. And I want you to think about, how do you feel? You might feel pretty okay, but decide to say, I'm going to let myself have this moment and I'm going to get back on track, and to allow yourself time to ease into this. This is a transitional time and it doesn't happen overnight. And if you give yourself the time that it takes without any expectation, you'll be surprised at how well you do.
I love that. That's so amazing. I've heard there's so many things from that. There is take it one bite at a time, like you were saying. There is self-love, which is what we are all about. Forgive yourself, take it one step at a time. And it's a journey. It is a journey. It's not something that you're going to conquer overnight, but there are resources and there are tools that you can use in order to help you along the way. And Francis, thank you so very much for taking time to talk to us about nutrition, what that means, how it's related to self-care, because this is extremely important. It's powerful information. And everyone, just so that you know, you can find out more information about Francis and get even more knowledge about what's going on with nutrition in her course called Nourishing Our Mind, Body and Spirit in Times of Uncertainty. You can check it out at learn.rootedwoman.com. And she's going to go into a deeper dive about each of the matters that we discussed here today. You're going to walk away with something that you didn't know about before. And even if you did know about some of this stuff, you're going to have a deeper appreciation for it. Francis, is there anywhere else that we can check you out?
FrancisHomesCNC.com.
Awesome.
So, yes. And
Thank
the last thing I want to say is, remember, there is no part of your body that doesn't love you.
I love that. I love that.
So that is a biggie. And so if you just remember that, it's always trying to talk to you and share with you in a gentle way. And so just remember that, because it's always there for you. It's not a problem to solve. It's a miracle to behold your body.
I love that. You're just dropping so many gems, and you can get even more gems in her class. So
Okay.
be sure to check out learn.rootedwoman.com, and we'll see you guys in class.